So today's a bit of a nothing day. To be honest, I'm starting at the end of the day because I spent all day editing, but I'll give you a little sneak peek of each one of the 3 videos I edited. You ready?
He does have spiky hair, to be fair. This looks like a birthing pose. And it is, because I'm giving birth to wonderful creations of majesty. And put on that cropping, and now we can watch the whole thing in context, and already that quickly and easily we've created an entire shot with camera motion. Super easy to do and to make changes to, but also really clear to see and to preview, because we can crop out all the edges and just watch what it's going to look like in the actual program itself.
The teller was reminded of a tale, and
I worked over the whole piece in a 0.2 fine liner, and then with shading and with finer lines like the blood and some of the texture on the skin, I used a 0.1 fine liner.
So they'll be coming out, I think next week you'll see each of those. So it should be somewhat apparent as to what the general theme is of each of those. Otherwise, I'm going to answer a bunch of questions today, because I didn't tell you that to make up for not doing a question of the day yesterday, I'd do a bunch. And also, it turns out, to sort of make up for lack of a vlog today, simply because there wasn't much to show. I was just editing. And I've done a lot of that. So let's jump into it. Melanie Darling says, should I switch to a Cintiq or stay with the Intuos kind of tablet, as I've worked on that for 10 plus years, fearful that my process/skill won't transfer over if I get a Cintiq? That's interesting. Greg Bartlett, my environment artist friend, was in a similar situation. I think it did take him a little bit to adjust, just because he did work with an Intuos type tablet for years, but I do believe his workflow improved when he adjusted, and he did enjoy using it. But there were some situations where he did use the Intuos still. So it sort of comes down a little bit to personal preference. That being said, my personal preference is the screen and the Cintiq setup. You know, it just makes sense. You see what you're drawing, and it's really comfortable and fast and easy and good. And even when I did use a pad tablet, I knew I was waiting for and yearning to use a screen tablet. So that was just me personally. And, you know, I don't understand that some people prefer the Intuos style pad tablet, but some people do. So power to you. Emmy Kawaii Doodle says, why do you always avoid crowdfunding? I don't understand. A lot of artists live because of their community, merchandise, Patreon, Kickstarter, etc. Why does that seem to bring shame to you? It doesn't bring shame to me. It's just not something I personally like. I think people like different ways of making a business out of their art. My personal preference is providing as much value as possible through a product, through, for example, merchandise isn't something I'm opposed to, but it needs to be valuable enough. So we're exploring different areas and thinking of ways and trying different things for merchandise, but we're not going to do it until we love the product ourselves. So, because it's got to be valuable. So as far as Patreon and Kickstarter and GoFundMe and all that stuff, I don't think there's anything wrong with them, but I personally don't like them because I feel like it's just asking for money for doing the stuff you'd be doing anyway. I prefer to give more than people expect, so that when you ask for something in exchange for a product, they feel like that's a great idea. I will absolutely do that for this product because I'm getting something more and I get to give to you. I know people can do that through Patreon and stuff, but then the other fact of that is that there's like a ceiling and a limit to how much you can provide through those platforms. So I tend to personally avoid them. I don't think there's anything wrong with them. I just don't like them personally. Row53P, thoughts on the new Nintendo Switch? Meh. Duarte Silva says, I'm trying to set up my own graphic design studio. Do you have any tips? Keep overheads low. So spend less money than you're making in, and work really hard, be creative, and make sure to use the internet to your advantage. Social media. Socialize in the social media and be aggressive and optimistic and friendly and professional and communicative. Yeah, I think that'll do. Amy Beckin says, I'm currently a uni student, graphic design, find out what area of game design I want to go into. A couple of months ago, I helped put it together in my school's visual art exhibition, and my teacher suggested going into exhibition design since I enjoyed helping so much and I was good at overcoming logical and organizational problems that came up. I would do this, but it feels too specific and I don't know if I'd be backing myself into a corner. Do you think I should go for it or find something broader? Try anything you love and are interested in. If you feel backed into a corner, walk out of it. Try something different. You know, if you loved it, who knows, you may love that niche. You may love being an exhibitor, creator, and worrying about just doing that one thing, even if it feels like a small thing. You could be the best person in the world to do that one small thing, and that might be your key to success. But you've got to follow your heart, and if your heart's not in it, don't do it. Michael McCarthy says, what do you do with your drawings once you've finished with them? I put them in here. I have folders of all my drawings, of all the things that I've done. Oh, look, even the poo. I even kept the poo. And then, what? I can't show too much of that one. I think I showed too much. I keep them. I've kept every reasonable drawing I've done since I was 12 years old. I'm sort of a drawing hoarder. Motto Sloth says, where did you meet your wife? Sorry for the basic question, and sorry if I've already answered it. I'll give you a quick rundown. We'll probably give you a more detailed rundown in the future sometime in a vlog, but we met on stage in the theatre doing shows together and playing opposite each other a few times. She was Carmen, I was Don Jose. She was narrator and I was Joseph in the Technicolor Dreamcoat. Yeah, so we sort of met through a shared interest. Dorky Goddess says, if you had not been successful with art, what would your second dream have been? Music, to be honest. I love singing and performing and playing and writing songs. And maybe one day I'll play you some of the songs I've written. I even wrote one about Mrs. Jazza. I like writing songs. Like The Tale Teller. That was another selfish reason for doing The Tale Teller, was because I got to write my own music. And I sort of missed doing that too. So, scratching an itch. What is your overall favorite Adobe product? This may sound like travesty because Photoshop and Animate are obviously, in theory, the hugest parts of what I do, but Premiere Pro, editing. I really think that using Premiere to tell my stories is an amazing experience, and I love doing that. And I love making the art, but at the end of the day, it's the narrative stuff, the video stuff that's working for me, and I will always be making the art, but I would prefer to keep Premiere and work in different art things, or even just traditionally, and just get to keep using Premiere because it's so valuable to me and I love it. That's why I have all my shortcuts to this thing, and I'm like a editing mofo. I use Premiere more than I use all of the art programs. Ethan Albrecht says, Jazzo, if you could go back to art school and get a job with Marvel or DC instead of your YouTube, would you? Absolutely not. Not even if this job paid minimum wage. If it was enough to support me and my family, I would stick to this. And if it wasn't enough, I would get a day job at Kmart and then stick to this, because I'm creatively selfish and I love doing my stuff and having my audience and friends and you guys. I've never idolized or put on a pedestal the idea of working at a studio. I love making my stuff. I'm a bit selfish. Anyways, that will do for today. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to turn off my lights symbolically. And then later tonight, I'm actually coming back in here and doing a call with a bunch of people in a class in Wales, which was planned ages ago. So I'll be answering a bunch of their questions. So anyways, I might include a couple of my answers to a couple of their questions in this, because this is obviously a Q&A vlog. But yeah, I guess that's it for now. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you tomorrow.
Do you have any tips for sort of gaining knowledge on business and such?
Yeah, the first would be just get active and be aggressive and just watch what's happening. I think it's about really noticing where attention is. I think business, what you're referring to when you say learning about business or, you know, whatever it is, whether you're animating or making art or games, the final equation that matters most is attention, right? That's what matters to advertisers, that's what matters to you because you need an audience, that's what matters to everyone, is the attention. And this whole new influencer marketing thing is this new thing that's only emerged in the last 4 or 5 years, but it equates to attention. Who are these people that have communities and people's attention. So I think my answer to you would be, look at where attention is growing and dying, right? And business equals working where the attention is going and finding how to get it and build it. Yeah? So like realizing that Snapchat was growing 2, 3, 4 years ago, whatever, is a good business move to move in there and create content and build an audience. My move was YouTube. I noticed my tutorials were successful on YouTube back when YouTubers didn't exist. Like no one was like, I mean, PewDiePie probably was super popular back then, but the general public didn't know that being a YouTuber would ever be a career. And yet I believed it would be. So I did it because I knew that there was attention there and it would only grow. So that's not to say I feel safe and I live every day thinking that YouTube could crash and die tomorrow, but it also keeps me thinking and planning ahead to sort of see what's working and what could be the future. I know virtual reality is going to be big, and I have a big belief that digital art and animation and game design is going to heavily be impacted by virtual reality, so I'm trying to move in and execute there. That's a business decision, but it's also something I'm excited about. So I think it really comes down to noticing the movement and just jumping into it,
I think just a round of applause, everyone will be good.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish you all the best of luck in making awesome stuff. Have fun, work hard, go crazy. Thanks guys. Good luck. I'll see you around.